Welcome back to our how-to series on the Climatiq Excel add-in. In this video, we cover the travel distance formula. This is useful for Scope 3.6, business travel, and Scope 3.7, employee commuting. The climatic travel formulas allow you to calculate carbon emissions from air, rail, and road journeys directly within Excel. These formulas draw on vetted emission factors from trusted datasets, including the UK government, such as DEFRA and BASE, EPA, and Base, ensuring transparent and GHG protocol aligned results. For air travel, Climatiq uses official DEFRA flights emission factors, which account for multiple variables such as the hull type, the cabin class, the fuel burned, ground operations, and the radiator forcing index. This ensures that long-haul business class flights, for example, have appropriately higher emissions than short-haul economic flights. For rail travel, Climatiq uses a geospatial routing algorithm that determines realistic rail routes between your start and end locations, combined with country-level electrification data to model grid and fuel-related emissions accurately. For road travel, the calculator factors in vehicle size, for example, small, medium, large, or average, and different fuel types such as petrol, diesel, hybrid, electric, and the distance traveled. Routing is powered by OpenStreetMap, ensuring accurate real-world distances and accommodating local road conditions. Let's start by taking a look at the documentation in the task pane. Each mode of transport has a dedicated formula, which you can find in the task pane under the Travel subheading. Let's break down the required inputs for each. So for the first one, air travel, we use the Climatiq.calculate travel air formula, and the required inputs are only the departure and destination points for your journey. However, if you also have the flight class and year on hand, this can also be added for more granular results. Switching over to rail travel formula, which is Climatiq.calculate travel rail, you simply need the start and end destinations for your rail journey. And if you have extra details, such as the year, for example, this can be included too. Lastly, looking at road travel, we use the Climatiq.calculate travel road formula within Excel, and you can make a calculation using the start and end points, but if you'd like, you can also add in extra details such as the car size, the car type, which would refer to the fuel combusted, and the year. If you're ever unsure what flight classes are accepted by the formula or which vehicle sizes are available, you can always reference the formula-specific documentation in the task pane for more guidance. Let's walk through an example. Here I have an Excel file containing a few recent travel records. One of the entries shows a business trip from Prague to Berlin by air in 2024 in economy class. To prepare the file, I've made sure there are columns for the start, end, flight class, and year. Now that our data is ready, let's calculate. So to start, click into an empty cell, click equals on your keyboard, and then select the appropriate formula, which is the Climatiq.travel air formula in this case. Alternatively, you can also insert the formula directly via the task pane. Next, select each input one by one. So our starting point, our end, our flight class, and year, separated by commas or semicolons depending on your Excel settings. We can close off the formula with a bracket, press enter, and within moments, the formula will return an emissions estimate. Before reviewing the outputs, I always recommend clicking the Add Header button in the task pane to label the columns. It makes it easier to read the results. So looking into the results, you'll see your total CO₂ emissions in kilograms, as well as the distance traveled between your two start and end locations, followed by the direct and indirect emissions breakdown. You'll also find emission factors applied, so this is the full source, the region, the year, plus any notices that explain any assumptions or fallback data used during the calculation. Let's try for another example, this time for the rail travel. We'll use the same route, Prague to Berlin, and the year 2024. The process is identical, however, we simply use the travel rail formula instead. Once we enter our inputs, we can see the total CO₂e result and estimated distance using real rail network data. The same breakdown of emission factors, sources, and notices is included in the output. Lastly, let's look at road travel. So in this case, we'll calculate the emissions from driving from London to Manchester in 2024 using a medium-sized petrol car, for example. The formula to use in this case is travel road, with its inputs for the start, the end, the car size, the car type, and the year. After we enter all of these details one by one, separated by a comma or a semicolon, we can then close off with a bracket and press enter on our keyboard. The results are the same, which show the CO₂ emissions, the distance, the direct and indirect breakdown, and all associated emission factor details. To make the calculation for all of the business data you have in a given sheet, pull down on the formula to apply across all the rows. Finally, if you want to get a quick start, Climatiq also provides a ready-made travel template. You can find it in the Excel task pane under the Templates tab. It includes pre-filled examples for air, rail, and road travel, some required inputs, and active formulas that you can edit or expand with your own data. You've now learned how to calculate travel emissions directly within Excel using Climatiq's travel formulas. To learn how to use other Climatiq formulas, such as spend-based travel calculations, check out the other videos in this Excel How-To series. I'll see you in the next video.